Oh yeah, this rear wheel's got a good wobble to it. I think somebody was doing the old Lambeau leap with this bike. Hey bike farmers, very fun video for you today. This is a Green Bay Fire Department Paramedic bike. These were the bikes used by the paramedics on game days at LAMBEAU Field. So if you were one of those guys that like to show up early, do a little tailgating, pound a dozen beers, fall over, crack your head open, not know where you are, this bike would roll up, they'd tie you to the back of it and drag you off to the drunk tank and you'd miss the game. These bikes are awesome. So much like the police bike video that I just did, these are kind of the same thing. They're government bikes, they're used in service, they're overbuilt, they've got really good parts on them, good hubs, good rims. This is set up with 26" by 2.0 slick tires. You may have seen my video on the 1.5" tires. Don't do it. You know, a lot of people like to take these old bikes, and if you're not riding them off-road, it doesn't make any sense to have knobbies, so they put some slick tires on them. Luckily, they kept them 2 inches. That means the bike's gonna handle right, bike's super comfortable, rolls great. I absolutely love these bikes. These are forever bikes. I love it when I get them in. I love it when I'm able to flip them. And I bought 9 of them. This is the only one that still has the paramedic stickers on the top. It's also the dirtiest. It's gonna make the best video. So, at first glance, there's a few things going on. I haven't touched this front derailleur yet, but it looks rusted solid, which I think it is. So, you know, they just put it in the big gear and crank on it. When people don't know how a bike operates, they're not gonna shift it. They just put it in a gear and go. The chain is rusted solid. There's stuck links back by the rear derailleur. I'll actually have to remove the chain before I really do anything on this bike so I don't tear that rear derailleur off the back end. I mean, it's got a flat rear tire. Looks like maybe there's a little bit of something hanging out from the inside. I don't know if that's tire or if it's rim strip or what. You know, we'll have to take that apart. But yeah, I'm suspecting I'll find a bunch of sticky, kind of gunky cables. This one happens to have rim brakes, which, as you know, I prefer. A few of them had disc brakes, but they're the nicer disc brakes, so I really don't have a problem with them because they set up easy and they work pretty good. But I do prefer rim brakes. I think they're a little simpler, and disc brakes are overkill on most bikes, in my opinion. They got nice ergonomic grips with bar ends on them. Just good all-arounder, general purpose, serviceable bikes. So kick back, relax, enjoy this video. I think it's gonna be a good one. Yeah, you can see here how rusted that chain is. So, oh, and it looks like there's a quick link right there. How about that? They made it easy for me on this one. I don't know what's about to happen here. Nice and slow. Oh yeah, pretty good, pretty good. And you can see, this is just rusted solid. But we'll throw a new chain on there. It'll work fine with that cassette. I'd be shocked if we get slippage. So back over here, you can just see how incredibly rusted this front derailleur is. I'm gonna bust out the heavy duty Croil. You buy a big king size can of aerosol Croil and it's gonna last you the rest of your life. You don't need a lot of this stuff and it really stinks. But this is a penetrating lube. And I'm just gonna kind of soak things here and let it sit for now. Just all the spots I can get to. I think maybe I'll try to move it with my hands. Yeah, it's not moving at all. I'm guessing we're gonna need to pop that off and try a few things. Hopefully I can find a replacement derailleur to work if that doesn't come back to life. Hopefully this comes back to life because it ain't budging for me at all. We'll see what we can do. Maybe tap it. Yeah, see, that got it moving a little bit. Oh man, yeah, it's really stuck. Brute force needed. But if I can get it moving a little bit, that helps that coil creep in there. All right, I see what's going on. Yeah, you never know which one of the hinges is the stickiest. So, got it moving. I'm just going to add a little bit more, and then we'll see what happens in a little bit. We can pull that derailleur off, hit it with some heat, work on it in the vise. We'll get back to that. And per the usual, we'll just pop these wheels off and set them aside. Okay, I'm gonna pull my rear derailleur like that, and that gives me enough slack in that cable to disconnect it, and then I can get in here and lube some of these cables. The front one is stuck, so that was really easy to disconnect. You just go through and get all the housing out of its happy homes, and now there's access. So now we have access to all the cables and housing. We're just going to lube them. I'm just going to use my fingers and kind of scrub a little bit on these. This bike seems to have been exposed to some elements and has a little more corrosion than the usual bear. If we do that, just can put a little bit of lube on there and grab a piece of fine steel wool. You can get most of that corrosion off, and that's mostly aesthetic. Big part of it is. Over here in the front cables, let gravity kind of suck it down in there a little bit. This one looked like it had a bit of a kink to it, so you can usually work that with your fingers and get the kink out of there. That helps things along. Yeah, I really like these bikes. They're just good, easy to work on. Basic bikes, you have access to all the cables. There's nothing too out of the ordinary. The barrel adjuster that's turned way out, I'm just going to turn it in. We'll start from scratch, adjusting that rear derailleur. These bikes usually see quite a bit of service in their lifetime. Not seeing a whole lot of signs of any kind of tuning or lubing or cleaning or anything on this one. I don't know if it got left out back or what. Maybe it lived on the back of a truck for just in case scenarios. Never know. You never know. All right, the front brake cable, you only get access to a couple inches up here. And so I drop a little lube down in there and just let gravity pull it down. And same thing, you don't want to forget to lube your noodle down here. But a lot of times if you get some lube in there and then just work it a little bit, it just with gravity and surface tension. You can do one of these numbers. Ooh. Oh, I got another bit of a kink here. And I don't like this bottle cage. I think it's bulky and ugly. I don't know. I've got something against plastic bottle cages. Primarily, you can see this plastic mounting is all smooshed up and mushed up, and it's just gonna fail eventually. Just get a good metal bottle cage. Even the lightweight ones are pretty good as long as they're metal. Yeah, you can just see how this was left outside. And in the rain or something, but there's a ton of sand. Lots of sand caked on everything here. So these bikes aren't very greasy, but they are very dusty. So we're just gonna start with the furniture polish and cover the whole thing and wipe her down. Hey bike farmers, I just wanted to take this lull in the action to let you know how much I appreciate that you've clicked in to watch this video. Now that I've been at it a little bit, I'm starting to learn why everybody's always asking for more. The AdSense money is just barely enough to make it worth starting a channel. If I want to sustain this for the long term, I'm gonna need everyone's help. Now don't get me wrong, your attention is enough. Don't feel obligated to give more, but I've tried to make it as easy as possible. You can always click the super thanks, that's the heart with the $ in the middle of it, or consider a monthly membership. The monthly membership will give you a little star next to your name, and if you have any questions, you can ask them in the comments. I'll see the star, and when I see it, I'll definitely give you an answer. You'll also have access to a little more behind the scenes action that non-members can't see. With all that said, thank you so much, and let's get back to some bikes. So now, I'm gonna go through and hook up all my cables again. Get the ferrules in their happy little homes. Just kind of go through one by one. Get the front derailleur here. Everything's moving really well. Cleaned up good. I had a feeling this one would come back to life for us. All right. Well, it's starting to move a little better. Should we see if we can rescue it? You can see it's a little cleaner for sure. Oh man, even the anchor bolts fighting. Don't want to round that out. Try a different tool here. There we go. Yeah, that cable's a little crusty. Just kind of get it out of the way. Yeah, see, it just wants to stick up, and then it's hard to go all the way back down. There's just so much rust on it. I should just replace it, but I don't think I have a new one. Maybe out in the van I have one. I could go look. Yeah, you can see it's all corroded. So I've got it clamped down in my vise here, and you can just take it and work it back and forth. You can see it's still wanting to stick. It's not coming back in its own recognizance. A little more coil on things maybe. Maybe a little wire brushing. Help move things along. I mean, it wants to come back to life. Looks like we're winning. Try to blow it with some compressed air. Getting there. All this for an LAMBEAU front derailleur. Not everything I do here makes total perfect sense. Sometimes I just get going and can't stop. I have a feeling I can work with this. Oh, that's not working. I think that's going to be good enough. I think we can get it to work. Nice way to get into the nether regions down here. Put a bunch of grease on this bolt. Keep that corrosion at bay. So what I'm doing with these bikes is, you know, I call it refurbishing, reconditioning. What I'm not doing is restoring. And I'm also not always optimizing. I'm improving, I'm tuning, I'm cleaning, I'm adjusting, but I'm not optimizing. I'm not upgrading. And I see a lot of comments. People are like, you should have done this, you should have done that. Why don't you just replace these parts? Why don't you, you know, it's not what it's all about for me all the time. Sometimes I do. I just want to keep her moving and, you know, get on with my day. I'll replace parts. But a lot of times I'll go through all this effort to save a front derailleur for really no good reason. And you know, what we like to say is it's good enough for who it's for. And I mean that both whoever ends up with this bike and for the bike itself as a who. I think a lot of these bikes do kind of have a life of their own. You know, they've got a history and a future. And right now, we've got a present. And right now, it appears that it's going to work. It's going to work just fine. All right, now this cable, you can see, has a little bit of fraying involved, which also doesn't bother me. I know. It doesn't bother me. Unless it's really bad. So, what I'm gonna do my best to not make things worse. But as long as the fraying is after the clamping, it really doesn't matter. So, It appears to be working. Shifters need to be sprayed. Isn't it funny how I pedal and I don't need to? Just force a habit. That whole time I was shifting, I was pedaling. There's no chain on the bike. I definitely do not need to be pedaling. I got lucky too. I got a black cable tie, or cable end, whatever you call it. It's called a cable end, cable tip. Definitely not a cable tie. Okay, I feel okay with that. What I did notice is some not so, I don't know, it's like slow clicking in these shifters. So if you take some one step and you get it up in there, some shifters, oh, there we go. And you just kind of flood the inside of your shifter pods. That'll wake up the inside. That's got some good action. How about this guy? All right, we're gonna work on some wheels here. This one's got a flat tire. See if I can just pop it off quick. No lever needed. I had a feeling it was flopping around on there pretty good. Hey, here's something kind of neat. So, these are silent clutch rear wheels. And actually, I think these are the 8-speed ones. Yeah, these are pretty rare. These are cool hubs, but they don't do any clicking. They're totally silent, and they're like instant engagement. These are great hubs. I almost want to steal one off one of these bikes for myself. Yeah, these are really cool. I have a bunch of 7-speed ones. I don't have any 8-speed ones. But anyway, that's so the cops can sneak up on you and haul you away to the drunk tank. So be careful out there. Bad boys. They're coming for you. This is the rag I used to wipe the frame down. Still got a little bit of tackiness from the furniture polish on it, and I'm just knocking some of the dust off this hub, and the skewer, and the stuff behind the scenes. But Dawn Power Wash is a great way to clean, well, just about anything, but wheels especially. Oh, dropped a rag. And I just like to tack the cloth up, and if the wheels are really filthy, then I just kind of soak it in the power wash. Nothing's really super filthy on these bikes. You know, they're used, but stored well and relatively well maintained. Well, actually, I don't know if this one was stored well because all that rust, but the wheels are in good shape. That's another thing when you find these police bikes or paramedic bikes, government bikes, they have really nice, burly, 36-hole, double-walled rims. You know, they're all heavy, but very durable, very utilitarian bicycles. Oh yeah, you guys are gonna get after me about a dork disc on this thing. I don't know. Something tells me, I don't know if the other ones have them. I'm looking over there in the pile. I guess I should put a dork disc on there. You know, if I don't, I'm gonna get a lot of comments. I like the comments. The algorithm likes the comments. It's all about that algorithm, isn't it? Let's see. How straight is this one? I can almost see it wobbling. Oh yeah, it's got a good wobble to it. I think somebody was doing the old LAMBEAU leap with this bike. So I'm just touching up a few spots here. Getting it as close to just exactly perfect as we possibly can. Okay. And we're just gonna go ahead and do the exact same routine to the other wheel. Hey bike farmers, a quick note. If you're looking to get serious about fixing bikes at home, look no further than the Park Tool AK5 toolkit. I have an affiliate link in the description. This kit provides all the basic tools you'll need to tune up just about any of the bikes that you see on this channel. It also comes with the Big Blue Book of Bicycle Repair written by Calvin over at Park Tool. Also in the description are affiliate links for all the basic things that I use. The grease, the degreaser, the one step, the Dawn power wash, the hold. If you see anything else that I don't already have a link for, let me know in the comments so I can add it. I hope these affiliate links will help encourage you to take this on as a hobby or even start flipping bikes for a living like I do. I think I just finished up this wheel. So this bike kind of had a little film on it from the first initial polishing. So I grabbed a brand new clean rag. It's dry as a bone. And I just kind of go through and wipe it off. It's almost like buffing the wax out of your car, you know? It serves the same, well, ends with a similar result. You know, we're not looking for paint correction here or anything like that. But, you know, give it a nice sheen. Find a little bit of luster, perhaps. Here's something I usually hit earlier in the process, but lube your springs and your brake bosses, your posts, your pivots. But putting some lube on there gives you a fighting chance when it comes to adjustment. You know, so now we got a lube cable and lube pivots. So it's all in good shape. Do the front too. They're thirsty. There you go. Have a drink there, little buddy. Spend a little time with Woody Charleston over here. This valve stem is crooked. We can't have that. So as these mountain bikes, as they like to call them, were mostly used for urban cycling, you see they put these slick tires on there. Now they did it the right way, in my opinion, and that's with 26 by 2. A lot of people like to go 26 by 1.5. You may have seen that video, which honestly, folks, it was kind of a joke. Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous for someone to have a least favorite tire size. And it's even more ridiculous for somebody who makes such a big deal of it that they make a video about it. I thought that was kind of obvious and went without saying, but perhaps that was a bit presumptuous of me, because quite a few of you took it seriously. And it was somewhat serious. Like, I really do not like 1.5 inch tires for the reasons that I gave in the video. Although nothing in the video really demonstrated those reasons very well. And that's because I think that that Marin Nail Trail bike is just a really goofy design. I do think it had I think the crank arms might have been too long, but probably it was more of a bottom bracket height kind of design issue. And you know, that particular bike just made the pedal strike issue very obvious. And then the tires that I put on it really didn't solve the problem. They weren't big enough. These, on the other hand, so these are measuring 2.0. Those other ones, I think, probably say 1.95 or 2.0 on the side. Same diff, they're 2-inch tires, right? These are way plumper, like every tire is a little different. So these tires would be great on that bike. And they're pretty good on this bike too. Now, I don't know who or what or how this bike is gonna be purchased for what purpose. So I'm leaving these tires on because they're in good shape. And these actually roll great. You can really dial in the tire pressure with these plumper tires. That's what I like about them. If you like it slow and squishy, go slow and squishy. If you like it hard, then go hard and fast and whatever. You know, you just have a lot of options with plumper tires. So there's my rant. Go watch that other video if you haven't. I mean, it's so funny that it was so popular. I had no idea when I did it. I was just like, oh, that'll be an easy video to make. Put it out there, and it was like super popular. The algo is strange. You guys are strange, but I love ya. Okay, and now this one was flat as a pancake. So we just get rid of the tube. There we go. That's gonna trigger some, why don't you patch them? You could just patch that, you know, comments. But it's probably because I hate humanity. That's the thing, is I am deliberately contributing to the downfall of humanity by throwing things away that could be repaired because I'm ethically and morally compromised. You know what I mean? I think I'm just not a good person. And that's why I throw tubes away, is because I'm an awful, awful person. I'm also a bicycle mechanic, which I don't know if you've heard, they're the lowest of the low, the worst. Bicycle mechanics are just here to rip you off, steal your guns, steal your freedoms for their own personal gain. Have you ever heard of the cabal? Drinking baby blood. They're all the same. Some people will have you believing they're Democrats. Just bad. Destroying the moral fabric of society. But I ain't playing those games. I say, don't tread on me. Papa don't preach. I'm keeping this 2-inch baby. Oh, lost a bead. You know, sometimes people come in to my shop with like a recumbent or an e-bike, and I'm like, sorry, I'm not willing to service that product. And they get all offended, like, what, my money's not good here? And I'm like, what the heck is this? I'm not selling wedding cakes, you know? It's like, I thought it was a free market economy here. What am I dealing with? I have to service anything that anyone considers a bicycle? You're telling me you're gonna get the government involved? Telling me how to run my own business? I just don't understand, folks. All of the contradictions and cognitive dissonance. You know, how can I be like, more butts on bikes, and then have an opinion about not liking how somebody uses a bicycle, like cyclocross racing? You know, I'm just a walking contradiction. I'm a hypocrite, cabal, probably hate America. You know, probably best friends with Soros. I tell you what though, one thing that I'm certain of is my appreciation for first responders, because that is a difficult, shitty, thankless job in my opinion. Maybe not as thankless as it used to be, but my understanding is most of the time you're just dealing with, well, you're dealing with people at the worst moment of their lives, but a lot of times you're just dealing with drunk people. You know, a few weeks ago, locally, somewhat locally to me, we had a school shooting, and that is a seriously scary thing. It fully freaked me out. I had family members in the school. It was a big deal. And it's a small town, right? I mean, everybody knows everybody, and you know who's showing up, and you know who's involved, and it's like, wow, when it hits that close to home, it's super real. And these paramedics, a lot of it's volunteer a lot of the times, especially in these small towns. And to have to deal with an incident like that, where a young kid is in crisis and loses his life, and, you know, real people, real members of our community, families, friends, members of our congregations are the ones that show up. That's a big deal. That's community at its most extreme. And so, you know, I don't know, just fills me full of gratitude when you stop and think about it. Got Woody Charleston here sitting down to put this chain on. I don't think I've ever sat down on a chair to put a chain on a bike. I think this is gonna go well. But I'm not done yet with my social commentary. You know, it got me thinking, it's like, you know, there's all this divisiveness in the world. You know, we're all kind of trained to us versus them. And I think it's great for people to have convictions socially, politically. You know, sometimes it's worth actually fighting for what you stand for. Most of the time, I think just some basic advocacy is good enough. You don't have to fight about it. Just, you know, be vocal when you want to and vote accordingly. Get involved if you have to. But what it boils down to is when people feel like they need to fight about it. What you're doing is you're fighting with those first responders, your community members that are actual heroes that may be on the other side of whatever you think is the most important thing you've ever thought of. And you start judging them and they're like, oh, they think this, so they must be immoral, or must be a bad person, or must be destroyed, or must be stopped, or something. You know, and the reality is they're really good people, and you're probably wrong about it. You know, it's not that big of a deal if they have a tattered flag hanging and, you know, they probably just can't get around to it or something like that. You don't have to start screaming at them. We're all doing the best we can. And we all actually depend on one another to get through this whole thing. So it's best not to fight. Well, I've got all sorts of questionable things going on here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 speed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I counted twice because, you know, I make a lot of mistakes. Okay, there's something happening with the rear derailleur where it wants to jump off this pulley wheel. I have to look at it a little bit closer. Does that look crooked to you? It looks crooked to me. Okay, I'm gonna zoom out a little bit here. See if I can capture the story, the journey here. I'm gonna go by feel. But you can see when I pedal, it jumps off here. And it looks like it's twisted inward. So I grab a channel locks. And I'm gonna grab it right at the axle of the pulley wheel. And I'm gonna twist a little bit. And it didn't really help, did it? Okay, is it bent this way maybe? Oh, there we go. So you have to be careful when you're bending derailleurs because you could get to the point of no return. And I should probably just check the hanger, right? Maybe it's a hanger issue. Okay, let's check the hanger first. So this is a Park Tool derailleur alignment gauge, the DAG 2.2. So the hanger is what the derailleur connects to, the derailleur hanger. So we pull the derailleur off and put the gauge on. And then you have this little post with little rubber grommets on it. Okay, and you set the grommet there, and you come up to the top, and you check it here, okay. And we're not that far off, just a little bit. Now you gotta be really careful, because these are made with brittle aluminum and made to break. You want the hanger breaking, not the frame. So now I'm over here at 3 o'clock, and we have a little bit to go, so we're just gonna, you know, you keep watching my videos, eventually you're gonna see me break one of these, and it's the saddest moment in bicycle mechanics. Because you have to go find a hanger. But they're usually like 15, 20 bucks on Amazon. They come next day or whatever. So this was not very bent at all. I didn't think it looked bent. It was just off a smidge, but not enough to cause problems. So that was more of just a confirmation of what I suspected. I know people that, like, the first thing they do on a bike tune-up is straighten the hanger. It's really not a bad idea. This is a tricky derailleur to put on. Get your derailleur back on. Oh, I didn't put on a dork disc. Well, okay, so if I click it once, it doesn't shift up. So on the barrel adjuster up on the, oh, that's right, I turned the barrel adjuster way in. All right, we're gonna tighten the cable manually down here. I'm leaving about 3 or 4 turns on the barrel adjuster on the lever, just so we can have some adjustment either way. But we'll snug this up a little bit here. Yeah, that's shifting very well. Front derailleur shifts right into the middle chainring, and the cable's a little tight, so again, on the barrel adjuster and the shifter, which isn't turning, so this cable's too tight. I think we'll have to do that one manually too. Just make sure I got it in the right position. It seems a little high. This might be kind of a bad idea, just because we know that cable's frayed. But I just loosened it up. You guys have probably seen me struggle with triple derailleurs in other videos. They're not that complicated, and they usually work great. And I know how to do it, and I've done a million of them. But for whatever reason, when that camera's running, I'm on the struggle bus. Okay, it looks a little crooked. And look at that. Okay, I shall be eating crow tonight, but that, what do you call it, frayed cable that I said was all good as long as it was above, or as long as the frays were below the clamp. It was right at the clamp and it just broke. New cable time. Let's show you how little work it takes. You know, how I should have just done it. You're all right. Man, I'm gonna get some comments out of this video. Whew. Okay, crow for dinner. That's what's happening. So one thing I'm gonna do is I got my Wubby Dubbies here. Take my wubby dubbies off and set them aside. Okay. Get the little piece of housing, set that aside. So I cut the cable up in the middle here because I don't want to be pulling this frayed mess through the housing. Best to keep things clean. Don't need to give it the old roto-rooter. Okay, then, not sure if you can see this, but there's always, on these shifters, a little plastic screw back here. It's like a dust cap screw. Really pointless because all sorts of stuff can get in all the nooks and crannies in these shifters anyway. That's actually a big one. It's kind of wild. Ugh. Okay. Shift all the way down and out comes your cable. Okay. New cable goes in. I'm going blind. I either got lucky or this is an easy one. Probably a little of both. A little bit of lube for good measure. Okay, get your cable in its happy home here. Find your wubby dubbies. So before I get going on here, I'm gonna do something to help me out. Go all the way up here to the barrel adjuster. This barrel adjuster was kind of sticking. So I'm just gonna grab it with the pliers and free it. Okay, so that's all the way in. I'm gonna back it up, you know, like 4 or 5 turns actually. So it's kind of like right in the middle of its threads. And that's gonna help me adjust the front derailleur cable tension because there's no inline barrel adjuster. That's the only one we have. It's the only one we need. Whoa, what the heck? What did I do? Something happened. Something strange happened there. And I don't know what. So we'll give that a little tweaking. Well, the cable tension's great. Ooh, maybe a little tight. So you can see, can you? Yeah, you can see how the chain is rubbing on the inside. And right now the chain is on the biggest cog in the back, the lowest gear. And so it's rubbing on the inside of the derailleur cage. So I'm turning in the barrel adjuster on the lever just until it stops rubbing. Okay, now there's a bigger gap. So when you shift up, there's a bigger gap. That means I'm gonna pull out on the derailleur a little bit and turn that barrel adjuster out a half a turn. That was still a little slow. I'm gonna turn it back in. Hot dog. Nope. Little slow right there, but if I shift deliberately, it's just got a little bit of a hesitation. Tighten that cable just a little bit. There we go. I like it. And get a little cable tip on here. Rear brake is pretty loose. Give it a good manual tightening. Rear brake is pretty tight. I'm gonna give it a manual loosening. Not too hot, not too cold. It's a Cinderella story. These Shimano brakes are amazing. This is a brand new chain. But kind of comes with a weird wax on it. So I like to spray it with Tri-Flow and then wipe the excess off. It really kind of cleans that wax off and puts a nice thin coat of good old-fashioned chain lube on there. Man, these are great bikes. Just really good. Get them set up and they just sing. Check the front brake here. Feels a little loose to me. Feels a little tight to me. Ooh, feels just about right. Not too hot, not too cold. Just like Rapunzel up in her tower, right? Woo! I could play those brakes all day long. For those of you keeping track, paying attention, here's that little plastic dust cap screw from switching that derailleur cable that I forgot. I saw it laying there. So they must have had a little accessory there, Velcro. And honestly, whatever it is, I kind of like that idea. Let's see if I can rip that sticker off. There we go. I gotta say, kids, this bike is coming together. I mean, we've got ourselves a complete functioning bike at this point. I just like to go through and do a little extra cleaning sometimes. A little once over at the end. You know, I'm reselling these bikes. So these bikes are for sale if you want a really good one. It's really expensive to ship bikes, but if you're local and are looking for a great bike, this one I think is a large, medium. Ooh, it's got a couple stickers here we have to remove. Take the old heat gun. Warm those guys up a bit. Take the side of a tire lever here, not the metal part. Let's see if I can grab it with the pliers now. Oh boy, man, government decals. Gross. Yeah, these decals a lot of times, if you have like older bikes with city bike licenses on them, they leave this like terrible adhesive behind. And it kind of takes a shit ton of goof off to get it clean. I just don't even mess around anymore. Gets me stoned anyway. It's always a good time. Woo. Whoa, man, hope you're not busy for a week. It's a nice, comfortable saddle, and it does not lack dust. Now it lacks dust. It did not lack dust. Well, bike farmers, I think that's about it for this one. This is a really great bike. I have a handful of them left. I've been selling them. People have been coming in, they get on them and they're like, whoa, you know, it's like, why can't they make them all like this? I like the connection with the Green Bay Packers. A lot of other people do too. I like the hero aspect of it. You know, I joke that it's just, you know, peeling drunk people off the sidewalk, but I'm sure people were in crisis, you know, heart attacks, whatever. You know, this bike could have rolled up and saved somebody's life. I mean, these are hero bikes. That's pretty amazing, actually, when you think about it. And then, of course, I always end up thinking, you know, these are just people in our community. And when it comes to that level, we're all in it together. You know, it doesn't matter which side of the fence you're on if you insist on thinking that there's fences. I just choose not to believe there's fences. I have my opinions, you have yours. Anyway, if you've been able to tolerate me this far, thank you so much. I mean, I'm just so grateful for the opportunity to be able to create this content and have you watch it. Number one best thing you can do is just watch these videos, and you've already done that. If you want to give a little bit more, every little bit helps. You can click a super thanks and send me $5. I'll eat some tacos. Somebody sent me 25 bucks the other day. I was like, what? That was crazy. So grateful for all of that. Or the easiest way is just with a monthly membership. You know, $5-10 a month, comes out of your checking account. Hopefully you just don't even know what's happening and you just let it ride. Keeps the wheels greased, as they say, and keeps the content coming. But for yourself, I think it's really important that you click that notification bell so you and your bike can stay tuned.